Hundreds of tribes were pacified, and the starry sky was restored. The human race's luck is at its peak, the best it has been in hundreds of thousands of years. There are many geniuses in the clan, and many people who have been difficult to break through have also achieved breakthroughs. The same is true for this member of the Yu family. He had an epiphany during the battle and was halfway to the other side of the world. Then he started the bloody road to the other side. With the benefit of the war, he accumulated blood, and finally stepped onto the other side after the war. The aura of promotion to the other side enveloped the entire star, and the Yu family also fell into joy. Everyone in the Yu family knows that there will be another ancestor from the other side of the family in their family. Mrs. Jade, Lin Moyu, Lin Mohan are visiting. Lin Moyu's voice came to the Yu family. The Yu family was shocked. The reputation of Lin Moyu and his two siblings was now at its peak among the human race, unmatched by anyone. Mr. Lin and Fairy Han, why did they come to us? It should be looking for the ancestor. I heard that Fairy Han's appearance is astonishing, and I really want to see her. Stay there honestly, no one dares to go without my ancestor's order. Only half a second after Lin Moyu spoke, a figure flew out of Yu's house and flew towards Lin Moyu. Not Mrs. Jade, but Jade Xing. Yu stopped in front of Lin Moyu, with tears in his eyes and a smile on his lips, looking straight at Lin Moyu. It seemed that in her world, there was only Lin Moyu, and even Lin Mohan beside her was ignored. Captain, we finally came to see Yu. Yu smiled with tears in his eyes, his delicate body trembling, and he was very encouraging. After not seeing each other for more than 100 years, Yu's eyebrows are a little more mature, and she is still so beautiful. If it weren't for Yu's house, Yu would have jumped into Lin Moyu's arms. Mrs. Yu flew out after Yu, dignified and graceful, exuding the aura of the world of rules. Lin Moyu can see that Madame Yu is already building a world of rules, and it won't take long for her to become a saint. Mrs. Yu smiled and said, "Welcome Fairy Han, Mr. Lin, I have prepared tea." Good. The four people entered Yu's house, and Mrs. Yu screened them away. She already knew about Yu, and Lin Mohan formally proposed marriage to the Yu family as an elder. Madame Jade naturally agreed, and she didn't even need a betrothal gift. This was Madame Jade's attitude. During the whole process, Yu's smile never faded. After so many years, she had waited for so many years and finally had the result. The joy in it can only be experienced by herself. Half a day later, Lin Moyu and Lin Mohan left, taking Yu with them. In fact, Mrs. Yu knew very well that Yu's heart had followed Lin Moyu a long time ago. In the Divine City Star territory, Yu Yingru suddenly looked towards the sky. I saw Lin Moyu standing in the air, and there was a woman beside Lin Moyu. The woman is very beautiful, no less beautiful than herself. There is also a bamboo pattern embroidered on the woman's collar. Needless to say, Yu Yingru also knew that this was the afternoon Lin Moyu mentioned. After she said something to Saint Hao, she disappeared in a flash. Lin Moyu took them outside the sacred city and into the silent starry sky. Lin Moyu introduced Yu Yingru. On the way, he had already told Yu about Yu Yingru's identity, and Yu was not jealous at all. In the human worldview, it is normal for a capable man to have 3 wives and 4 concubines. This is the case in Yu's family. Her elders all have 3 wives and 4 concubines. Everyone lives in harmony and lives a good life. For someone as capable as Lin Moyu, having more than one is not a problem at all. And in Yu's mind, ordinary people are simply not worthy of Lin Moyu. Only someone with excellent status, appearance, and talent like Yu Yingru is worthy of Lin Moyu. Yu Yingru smiled and said, "Miss Yu is so beautiful." In a word, she already regards herself as a sister. It doesn't matter to Yu, being a younger sister also has the benefits of being a younger sister, and a younger sister always has to give in to her younger sister. The sisters at home often give way to themselves. Yu responded obediently, "Hello, Sister Yingru." Yu Yingru suddenly felt a sense of satisfaction. She had no idea what Yuju was thinking. My sister is so good. In just a few words, the two of them became eye-catching. Not long after, Lin Moyu found that she had become redundant, and the two became good sisters in an instant. Seeing the two of them getting along harmoniously, Lin Moyu's consciousness sank into the soul world, caressing the sleeping coffin, and said softly, "You won't blame me." Yuqing and Yuju seemed to sense Lin Moyu's abnormality and looked over at the same time. Lin Moyu smiled and said, "There is something I want to discuss with you. This matter may be unfair to you. I don't want to hold a wedding for the time being. I will hold it together in the future when everyone is here." Yu Yingru chuckled, with a bit of freedom and ease. "What's the matter? We, the fish people, never pay attention to weddings or anything like that." Yuju also said softly, "In our family, we never hold weddings when taking concubines." Lin Moyu did not expect that Yuju would regard herself as a concubine, and immediately corrected her. "In my family, there is no distinction between wives and concubines, everyone is the same. Now because the matter has not been settled, we will not hold the wedding for the time being. When we get together in the future, the wedding will definitely be held. You are all my wives, and I have no concubines." Yu Yingru shook his head. "I don't care. There is no distinction between wives and concubines in our clan, as long as we are together." Yuju also nodded. "Me too, as long as I can be with the captain." Yu Yingru asked strangely, "Sister, why did you call him captain?" "That is because..." The topic was raised again, and the two chatted again, and Lin Moyu was once again left alone. Looking at the distant starry sky, the eyes seemed to penetrate the world barrier, enter the boundary sea, and look towards more distant places. What kind of world is the boundary sea outside the big world? Those heavenly lords left the big world to find their own path, hoping to become Taoist lords. What kind of opportunity can make them become Taoists? I want to become a heavenly lord, but what should I do? Lin Moyu thought for a long time, waiting for Yuqing and Yuju to finish chatting, and took them to see Lin Moyu. Once the identity is determined, Lin Mohan will be their elder regardless of age. A few days later, the starry skyfish people completed their visit, and Yu Yingru returned with the team. Yu Yingru was a little reluctant to leave, but she also knew that it wouldn't be long before the two of them would see each other again. Saint Hao will go to the starry skyfish people in a while to discuss the details, and finally the matter will be finalized. Moreover, Holy Lord Hao still needs to discuss matters related to the Dojia with Yuchime. This matter is related to the life and death of the entire world, and the starry skyfish people cannot stay out of it like in the past. Good money is good. Lin Moyu accompanied Yuju to play in the human star field. He traveled to many places and saw many storms. On a certain picturesque planet, on a starry night, Yuju completely gave herself to Lin Moyu to eat. A month later, Lin Moyu received a summons from Lin Mohan and returned to the divine city. Lin Mohan's sword intent rose up, and the invisible sword intent cut countless cracks in the space. "Sister, do you really want to leave?" Lin Mohan told her that she was leaving to find her own way. Lin Mohan nodded. "I want to achieve supreme status, but not in the big world." 1. Lin Moyu frowned. "Going to Jihai?" Lin Mohan hummed. "Xiaoyu has Xiaoyu's way, and I have my own way. I hope that when I come back, Xiaoyu has become a father." Lin Moyu knew that what Lin Mohan said was right. Everyone has their own way. It's very dangerous in the boundary sea, so be careful. "Don't worry, my aunt won't go if it's not dangerous." Lin Mohan chuckled lightly, and his sword energy rushed into the night with a heroic appearance. Lin Mohan walked very cleanly, without any sloppiness. She wants to find her own way, and her way is not in the big world. Lin Moyu knew that the awakening of his sister's bloodline was not only inheritance, but also something else. But he didn't ask. As long as Lin Mohan was still his sister, everything else was not important. "I'm alone again. But I have to follow my own path." Lin Moyu knows very well where his path is. He is not practicing these days, he is waiting. waiting for the big world reward to arrive, counting the time. It's almost time. White Tiger and Suzaku went to the outside world together, chasing souls through blood to find the remnants of the Black Blood world. Calculating that time has come, as long as the last remnant of the Black Blood world is eliminated, he will be the first to do so. The big world will inevitably drop rewards, and based on the damage done to the big world by the Black Blood world, the rewards this time will be very amazing, and are expected to exceed the total of the war between hundreds of races. With this reward, he can sublimate all the remaining power of laws into rules. Then he can formally build a world of rules and step into the realm of the Holy Lord. In the other side realm, the most important thing is the world of rules. Only if the world of rules is strong enough can the follow-up path be successful, otherwise everything will be in vain. Lin Moyu has ambitions for his own world of rules, has made a lot of preparations, and will never allow problems to go wrong. While thinking about what his 610 scale world looked like, Lin Moyu suddenly raised his head and looked at the sky. Looking through the roof, he saw the starry sky outside the divine city. At some point, a huge whirlpool appeared in the starry sky. In the whirlpool, the breathtaking breath of sleep came out. Everyone in the divine city was awakened and looked up. Several saints from the other side rose into the sky at the same time, with doubts in their eyes. What happened? The pressure in the vortex is so strong and the atmosphere is brilliant, like the power of heaven. This is not the pressure of ordinary cultivators, but the pressure of the runes of the great world. I saw the great world rune, because the world rune appeared. Oh my God, the runes of the great world will actually appear. This kind of wonder has never been seen before. There are faint runes of the great world appearing in the whirlpool, not the body, but a projection. But this alone is amazing enough. The runes of the big world would not appear in the world easily, but now they are visible to the world. This kind of spectacle has indeed never been recorded. It may have existed in ancient times, but it certainly does not exist now. The runes of the big world appear, and the light shines on the divine city. Not only the divine city, but also all races were shrouded in light. The star field of the human race is shining, and everyone feels that bathing in the hot springs has an indescribable comfort. CHCF, everyone has become relaxed. In fact, it is not that they have become relaxed, but that the world has become relaxed. Lin Moyu felt the power of the Great World Rune and knew why the Great World Rune came from. Starting today, the world will completely cut off cause and effect. The war in ancient times is finally over. Lin Moyu whispered to himself, and the last remaining remnants of the Black World were also erased. As for the remaining starry sky behemoths from all walks of life, the horror world doesn't pay attention to them. With a roar that only Lin Moyu could hear, the world's reward arrived. Lin Moyu fell into a state of enlightenment in an instant. He resonated with heaven and earth and danced with the world. The power of law in his body continues to sublimate and quickly transforms into the power of rules. The conversion speed is astonishingly fast. What may take others years to do, in the state of enlightenment, only takes half a day. The power of laws is fading, and the power of rules is getting stronger. The vortex disappeared after the reward was dropped, and the starry sky returned to normal again. Lin Moyu's enlightenment lasted for a whole month before it ended. In 1 month, the power of all laws has been sublimated into the power of rules, and the realm has also improved a lot. Lin Moyu has a strong aura and is no different from the Holy Lord. The only difference is the world of rules. He is now a saint in a world without rules. As long as the world of rules is established, he can completely become a saint. My world of rules is still a little bit off. 10,000 stars are about to be completed, and more world crystals are needed. Although the worlds of all parties were shattered and their origins were lost, most of them still have remnants. These worlds will become my nourishment and help me achieve a world of rules that transcends perfection. Lin Moyu has a clear mind and knows what he should do. A star map appeared in front of him, with several light spots on it. Every spot of light here is a remnant of a world that once existed. The Soul World and the Royal Realm are both included. Lin Moyu said to the void, "Human Emperor, tell Saint Hao that I am going to look for opportunities." The human emperor's voice quickly sounded, "Have a safe journey." Space rules surged, and all the space rules in front of him broke. The space rules inside were distorted and marked with the mark of Lin Moyu. To activate the power of rules, soul power is required. Every ray of rule power has a strong personal imprint. Originally, there were countless formations operating in the Divine City, and the entire space was locked, making it impossible to open the space door. But Lin Moyu used his soul power combined with the rules of space to forcefully change the rules of an area and directly open the door to space in the Divine City. Lin Moyu stepped into the door of space, instantly spanned 100,000 light years, and had reached the edge of the human star field. A few seconds later, the space door opened again. When Lin Moyu reappeared, he had entered the Suzaku battlefield and was close to the king's realm. Coming to the Tulu world again, Lin Moyu's memory surged, and the experience here seemed like yesterday. But now, his state of cultivation is different from what it used to be, and he can see many more things. The soul of the Supreme Realm, the Holy Realm, he can completely see this small world clearly. The Tulu world is very dilapidated, with gaps everywhere, like a leaking ball. If it weren't for the big world surrounding it, it would have been broken long ago. There is very little of its origin left, and only the last bit is left to survive. The Tulu realm was once a race. They were of the plant type and were good at curses. When the ancient war broke out, they also betrayed and were the first to be wiped out. There are still some corpses in the remnants of Tulu realm. Now it seems that these corpses are so weak that they are not even qualified to be resurrected. The world-burning fire jumped from the palm of his hand, jumped out, and exploded from the air. The invisible force swept across the entire Tulu world in an instant. The Tulu world roared endlessly, and the entire world was shrinking rapidly. This world is a bit weak and can be refined very quickly. It won't take long to refine it. Lin Moyu faintly heard the wailing of Tulu realm, which was the last scream of the whole world, but it was of no avail. Only half a day later, the Tulu world was completely wiped out, and there was an additional world crystal in Lin Moyu's soul world. Lin Moyu didn't stop and headed to the next stop, Soul. In his feeling, the soul world is stronger than the Tulu world. After all, it is troublesome to enter the soul world from the other shore realm, and Lin Moyu knows the reason. The soul is not strong enough and the body is too weak to stop the power of rules in the soul world. When entering the soul world, the body and soul will be forcibly separated. But this kind of power has no effect on him. Lin Moyu entered the soul world, and the force of rules pulled at his soul, unable to pull him away at all. The immortal golden body bloomed with light, blocking the power of rules in the soul world. Lin Moyu entered the soul world in a physical body. The soul world is still the soul world, filled with the breath of the soul. The soul tribe is very special. They seem to have no body. Lin Moyu once thought so too. Later, when the realm improved, I realized that the Soul Spirit clan also has a physical body. Their physical body and soul are merged together. The physical body is the soul, and the soul is also the physical body. Regarding this wonderful existence, we can only say that the world is vast and full of wonders. Lin Moyu is walking in the world of the Soul Clan. He is not in a hurry to refine this world. He was too anxious last time, so he can appreciate it carefully this time. Perhaps soon, this world will never be seen again. I came to the waterfall I had entered before and saw the civil servants carved on it again. The danger that once seemed fatal to him can now be ignored. Once again, we came to the space where the soul ancestral beast was, and the breath of the soul ancestral beast still remained here. At that time, the soul world used all its strength to summon the soul ancestor beast. In the end, the soul ancestor beast was severely injured and fell asleep. The army that launched a crusade against the Soul Clan also disappeared after the first battle that year. It should have been destroyed by the soul ancestral beast. But since the Soul Spirit tribe is a traitor and the two sides are already fighting to the death, why do they still need to hand over the rule stone to the Soul Spirit tribe for safekeeping? Lin Moyu recalled the Soul Clan he met outside the territory. At that time, the other party said that he had done what he promised to the human race, and he hoped that the human race could do what he promised him. What exactly did the human race promise him? Lin Moyu's heart moved and he took out a crystal-like object, which was the star core left behind by the soul ancestor Zheng Lu after his death. After the starry sky beast dies, there is a certain probability that the star core can be obtained. The star core can be said to be the crystallization of the power of the starry sky beast. The value of the star core of a high-level starry sky beast is very high. Over the years, Lin Moyu has obtained many star cores, none of which can compare with the star core of the soul ancestral beast. Judging from the star core, the realm of the soul ancestral beast may have surpassed the Holy Lord. If it weren't for the fact that his injuries were so severe that he couldn't even exert 1/1,000,000th of his strength, he would have died. Now that I think about it, I was really brave back then. It's not that the skilled are bold, but the ignorant are fearless. The star core of the soul ancestor beast suddenly flew up on its own, flying towards a certain place in the space. Lin Moyu was a little curious and followed him. Waves of huge force came and tried to push Lin Moyu away, but Lin Moyu did not move at all. He followed the star core to the depths of space, where Lin Moyu saw a starry sky beast. The appearance of the starry sky beast is exactly the same as that of the soul ancestor beast, but it is much smaller and looks very elegant. However, Lin Moyu felt a kind of power from this little soul ancestor beast, not in terms of strength, but in terms of blood. This little beast has extremely noble blood. Lin Moyu determined at a glance that the little beast did not belong to the big world, but came from outside the world. Back then, the Soul Spirit ancestral beast was summoned by the Soul Spirit clan with the power of the entire clan. Perhaps it came from another world. The star core flew towards the little beast. Lin Moyu didn't know if the little beast would be in danger to him after getting the star core, so he suddenly reached out and grabbed the star core. At this time, the space shook slightly, and a figure emerged from Shaohin. Lin Moyu looked at him. It's you. He is exactly the same as the Soul Clan member who left the ancient box behind on the extraterrestrial Soul battleship. Not the appearance is the same, but the soul is the same. So Lin Moyu can be 100% sure that they are the same person. That person is right, someone will really come back with the star core of the soul ancestral beast. That person? Lin Moyu's first reaction was that people refer to the gods and non-human beings. There is no one else but the mysterious master who can get such an accurate result. The Soul Clan member looked at Lin Moyu. You already have the box. Lin Moyu nodded. I'm so stiff. The Soul Clan member continued. I have accomplished what I promised that person, and I hope you can also accomplish what you promised that person to me. What did he promise you? Lin Moyu asked. The Soul Clan people said, don't give us the star core. Lin Moyu looked at him and said after a moment, I can return the star core to you, but I have a request. I want to know the details. The other party has been in contact with the mysterious master. Through him, he may be able to know something about the mysterious master. The Soul Clan member sighed. It's been so long, but what you want to know is actually meaningless. That person is no longer here. Lin Moyu smiled and said, you have a deal with him, and you have a deal with me. Tell me what happened back then, and I will return the star core to you. The soul tribesman has no choice. He is just a ray of soul now. If Lin Moyu doesn't want to abide by the agreement, he has nothing to do with Lin Moyu. He chose to trade with Lin Moyu. Back then, our soul clan was bewitched by the black blood realm and betrayed the human race. But the opinions within the clan were not unified. At that time, the clan members were divided into two factions. One faction still stood with the human race, while the other faction declared war on the human race. The arrival of the human army brought a disaster of annihilation. At the last moment, they summoned the soul ancestral beast at a great cost. The soul ancestor beast is very strong. It destroyed the army that suppressed us, but at the same time it was seriously injured and on the verge of death. But after all, it is our ancestral beast and our source. We cannot watch it die. So we made a decision to once again mobilize the whole family to treat it. The injury of the soul ancestor beast was too serious and difficult to heal, so it split into a small beast. As long as it dies and gives the star core to the little beast can become the second soul ancestor beast. But when he came in, he sealed the little beast, and also sealed the soul ancestor beast, letting it go into sleep, and it couldn't die even if it wanted to. The last strength in the clan was wiped out by him, leaving me alone. Just when I thought I was going to die, he offered me a deal. He asked me to drive the soul battleship to the outside world, bring a box, and wait for someone. He said that person will come in 1,000,000 years and hand the box to him. In this way, we can get back the star core of the ancestor of the soul. Later, I did as he said and waited for you for 2,000,000 years. After the soul clan member explained the whole story in detail, Lin Moyu asked doubtfully, "Have you ever had any doubts?" The soul tribesman said with a little helplessness, "I have no choice, but since you appeared in the soul world, killed the soul ancestor beast, and took away the star core, I knew he was right." Lin Moyu was still confused. "Do you know why he chose you at that time?" The soul tribe member said, "I know, because our soul tribe can seal our own souls and wait for millions of years, but other races don't have this ability. Your human Heavenly Lord can also do it, but obviously he doesn't want to let Heavenly Lord do it. I don't know the specific reason. Lin Moyu knows very well why. Tianzuan can indeed do it, but Tianzuan cannot do it, and it may not be reliable." Lin Moyu said, "The soul ancestor beast was summoned from another world, right?" The soul tribe nodded. "It should be so. This is an ancestral technique. It will only be used when the race is in trouble. The price is too high. It seems that there are other secrets in the Soul Clan, which may not even they themselves know." The Soul Clan member looked at Lin Moyu nervously. To be precise, he looked at the star core in Lin Moyu's hand and said softly, "Do you still have any questions?" Lin Moyu smiled and said, "No, I won't give you the star core now. Release the star core, and the star core will automatically fly towards the little beast. The little beast is sleeping. According to the Soul Clan people, it was sealed by the mysterious master. The star core is the key to unlocking the seal. After obtaining the star core, the little beast can transform into the soul ancestor beast again. As for what will happen after transforming back into the soul ancestor beast, Lin Moyu doesn't know, and neither does the soul ancestor beast. But Lin Moyu believed in the mysterious master. Since he did this, there must be deep meaning. The layout that spans millions of years will not be so simple. And based on previous contacts, Lin Moyu believed that the other party would not harm him. Watching the star core merge into the little beast's body, the little beast's aura began to rise, like a huge wave suddenly rising from the calm water. Huge waves soared into the sky, and the little beast's aura became stronger in an instant. True God, God King, God Lord. In the blink of an eye, the little beast's aura has reached the other side, and will continue to rise. Lin Moyu asked, "There once was a soul ancestor beast. What state was it in?" Under the impact of the little beast's aura, the souls of the Soul Clan members, who only had 040, became a little buoyant, as if they would dissipate at any time. He struggled to spit out 4 words, "The Pinnacle Supreme." The Supreme Peak is very strong. It is already the strongest among the Supremes. To be called the Peak, it is only 1 step away from the Heavenly Lord. However, Lin Moyu felt that the little beast that regained the star core would not be able to return to that state. Maybe even the Supreme Realm may not be possible to return to. The fact was just as he thought. The little beast's aura began to stabilize when it reached the Holy Realm. In the end, the little beast's aura stayed on the half-step Supreme, and did not return to its peak state. The little beast slowly woke up and roared for 2 weeks. Lin Moyu was very surprised. The little beast's roaring sound was very soft, not like the deafening scream of the starry sky beast, but a bit like the cry of a kitten. He's not an adult yet. Lin Moyu thought to himself. The split soul ancestor beast is equivalent to being reborn, starting to grow again from childhood. The little beast is glowing, exuding an aura similar to that of the Soul Clan, but it is more vast and distant, and more noble than the Soul Clan. The remaining souls of the Soul Clan members were already kneeling in front of the little beast and fell to the ground. He was singing some tunes that Lin Moyu couldn't understand. It had a special tune and was very mysterious. Amidst his chanting, the little beast slowly opened its eyes. His eyes are clear and bright, as simple as crystal. When he saw Xiaoshuo's eyes, Lin Moyu knew that the new Xiao Zhang actually had nothing to do with the dead soul ancestor Zhang. Even his memory has been lost, and he is a completely new individual. The little beast's clear eyes swept over the Soul Clan members, then around, and finally landed on Lin Moyu. At that moment, Lin Moyu felt an inexplicable connection between himself and the little beast. The little beast looked at him like a child looking at his father. Lin Moyu suddenly had an idea in his mind that he was going to be a father. As soon as the thought came up, a childish voice suddenly sounded in the soul world, "Father." Lin Moyu felt dumbfounded when he heard this voice. "Sister, did you curse me?" Lin Mohan urged herself to have a baby, but she ended up with a little beast. Suddenly, a powerful soul aura exploded in the space, and soul power rippled in the space. There were countless voices in my ears, as if countless Soul Clan members were chanting together. The powerful soul power vibrated in the space, making even Lin Moyu's soul state feel a little uncomfortable. He saw countless remnant souls pouring out of the space, all of which were the remnant souls of the Soul Clan. These remnant souls are unconscious and chanting strange tunes together. The soul power became larger and larger, like substance, and a vortex appeared above the little beast. A huge aura emerged from the vortex, and this aura obviously came from another world. The vortex creates suction and falls on the little beast, sucking it away. Lin Moyu felt awe-inspiring. "I'm going to send Xiaolu back." The Soul Clan members used their entire clan strength to summon the soul ancestral beast from another world. Now, their remnant souls are sending back the reborn little beast. Therefore, after the Star Core is returned, the Soul Clan members know what they are going to do. The mysterious master may have anticipated what they were going to do. "Father!" A childish voice sounded in the soul, and the little beast's voice contained a little panic and a lot of reluctance. There was also panic in the clear eyes of the little beast, but it seemed that he could not resist the power of the whirlpool. No matter how hard he struggled, it was to no avail. His small body was being sucked away bit by bit and flew towards the whirlpool. Lin Moyu's heart was full of reluctance, and he suddenly had the idea that he didn't want the little beast to leave, as if the little beast had really become his own child, and he was about to lose his own child. This idea is absurd, but it is also extremely true. Lin Moyu took action and followed his heart. A large number of skeleton gods will appear around and attack the whirlpool. As long as the whirlpool is shattered, Wu Zhang can stay. The sword light lit up, like a mud cow entering the sea and being swallowed by a whirlpool. The whirlpool remained the same without any ripples. Only half a second later, a roar suddenly came from the whirlpool. The roar shook his soul. Lin Moyu's face suddenly changed, and his whole body was blown away like a meteor. Lin Moyu's face was slightly pale, and his roar contained a strong soul impact. If it was just an ordinary other side state, he might be dead. The whirlpool leads to another world, and that world is terrifying. How could the world where the soul ancestral beast once lived be not terrifying? Lin Moyu didn't try again. He knew that with his current strength, he couldn't stop it. "Father!" The little beast screamed childishly, its clear eyes full of reluctance. The little beast still knew nothing about this world. Lin Moyu was the first person he saw. He instinctively left his mark on Lin Moyu and regarded Lin Moyu as his father. Lin Moyu also felt reluctant to leave, as if he really wanted to be separated from his child. Lin Moyu knew that the reason for this was because Xiao Zhang left a mark on his soul. Lin Moyu did not take the initiative to erase this mark. This feeling is very novel and worth experiencing. With his Taoist heart, he felt that he could not influence any of his decisions. Experiencing different feelings is also an experience. It's interesting to have no children, but to experience what it's like to be a father. He watched the little beast leave with his own eyes. The reluctance in the little beast's eyes became more and more intense, and the reluctance coming from his soul became more and more intense. Father! Father! The voice of the soul was calling, but Lin Moyu was indifferent as if his heart was stone. The little beast didn't know that his father had no power to stop him. He just instinctively doesn't want to be separated from Lin Moyu, and his thoughts are extremely pure. 5.4. At the moment when the little beast was about to enter the whirlpool, Lin Moyu finally made some movement. Lin Moyu said to the little beast, "You go first, I will come to you." With these words, the little beast's original uneasiness seemed to be soothed. Although he was still reluctant to give up, he became much quieter. The little beast finally entered the whirlpool, and the whirlpool disappeared, taking the little beast back to the world of the soul ancestor beast. The chanting also stopped, and the shadows of the soul clan members disappeared one after another. Even the last remaining souls disappeared, leaving only Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu felt the imprint in his soul, and through this imprint, he could feel the existence of the little beast. The distance between the two sides is extremely far, as if they are separated by infinite worlds. The connection between them is still there, not broken, and they can even vaguely feel the direction. Lin Moyu raised a smile on his lips. Perhaps, this can be a guidepost for me after entering the boundary sea. The fire that burned the world was ignited, refining the dilapidated soul world. The world crystal that can be refined from this broken world that has had most of its origin extracted by the big world is not very good. If it is just one piece, it is not enough to build a perfect world of rules. At that time, the mysterious master left the world burning fire and gave a method to build a world with perfect rules. He had already told Lin Moyu that 10 world crystals of this level were not enough. At least 3 pieces are needed to reach the level of a perfect rules world. And if Lin Moyu wants to build a world of rules beyond the perfect level, the requirements will only be higher, and the more crystallizations in the world, the better. Now that he has 7 world crystals, Lin Moyu still feels that it is not safe. One day later, the soul world completely disappeared, and Lin Moyu also went to another area. In Area 7-77 of Suzaku Battlefield, there lives a starry sky beast called the Black Hole Snake. There is also a Black Hole Snake Ancestor on top of the Black Hole Snake. The Black Hole Snake Ancestor has half the fighting power of a god. He almost died at the hands of the Black Hole Snake Ancestor back then. The most terrifying thing is not the Black Hole Snake Ancestor. According to Zhu Qiwu, the Black Hole Snake Ancestor is just a pet of a powerful existence. Of course, being a half-step god is nothing now. Even if they were in the other shore realm, it was nothing, and the Lord God didn't know how many he had killed. Thinking back carefully, there might be another world in that big pit. After many years, Lin Moyu once again visited Area 7-77 and entered the starry sky where the Black Hole Snake lives. In the vision of the undead, there are many black hole snakes in the starry sky, but they have not noticed their arrival. Lin Moyu used a concealment talisman to avoid the black hole snake's induction and directly reached the hinterland and came to the edge of the pit. Looking at the big pit again, he felt the breath of rules. No wonder Senior Zhu said that he couldn't get in, and the being inside couldn't get out either. Although the world of rules is damaged, it still has limitations. Things that are too powerful cannot leave the world of rules. This world of rules should be left by a certain supreme being. The supreme being is dead, and the world of rules cannot be any stronger no matter how strong it is. The existence that can be trapped in the world of rules is at most a half-step supreme, maybe only a holy one. The power leaked from the world of rules has created the Black Hole Snake Ancestor. And the Black Hole Snake Ancestor has reproduced a large number of black hole snakes. Everything in the world has cause and effect. The higher the realm, the clearer you can see. After analysis, Lin Moyu was determined and jumped into the pit. Lin Moyu felt like he had experienced a teleportation and knew that he had entered this world of rules. Feeling the atmosphere of the world of rules, it is indeed the world left by the Supreme. Although it is somewhat damaged, it is still generally intact. The world of rules allows entry and exit, and only part of the power can leak out through the broken area. What on earth did that Supreme being trap in the world of rules back then? Lin Moyu is not in a hurry to refine this world of rules, he wants to see what is in the world. The rules world of the Supreme Realm is very large. Lin Moyu repeated his old trick and sent a large number of skeleton generals to fly in all directions to explore. This world of rules has mountains and rivers, just like the real world. This shows that the Supreme is very powerful, and may even have reached the peak of the Supreme. Unfortunately, most of these mountains and rivers are broken, with ruins everywhere. Those broken mountains floated in mid-air, forming floating mountains. The river suddenly turns into a waterfall pouring from top to bottom, and sometimes it rises from bottom to the sky. The rules of the world have become chaotic, and there is only one rule that remains firm, that is, no entry, no exit. In the broken mountains and rivers, the skeleton god general discovered an intact stone tablet. The steel is made of rune material, which is not only strong but also able to ignore time. When he saw the rune materials, Lin Moyu already knew that this rule world belonged to the thousand human race supreme. In ancient times, only humans would use rune materials. Runes are unique to the big world and the human race, and other races cannot master them at all. Coming to the stone tablet, Lin Moyu saw the records about this world. My name is Jiuchuan, and I am the supreme leader of the human race. Every tribe rebels, and I follow the order of the Heavenly Lord to massacre the Black Dragon tribe. After fighting hard for half a month, I slaughtered the Black Dragon Supreme here. The Black Hole Supreme died without freezing, spreading poison in the starry sky. If the poison is not destroyed, the Supreme Black Dragon will be able to resurrect his body and soul, and live in the big world again. At that time, I was suffering from severe poison, and I knew that I had no way to recover, so I used the world of my own rules to trap the poisonous Black Dragon, and used the origin of my soul to turn into flames, refining them day by day. It is extremely poisonous and difficult to refine. If any descendant of the clan enters this place, be sure not to release the Black Dragon. This poison has a spirit, so be careful. Lin Moyu read the record and was glad that he did not refine this world. If the Black Dragon poison is released, and the Black Dragon Supreme appears, it will be a big trouble for today's human race. The poison of the Black Dragon probably did not escape, but a part of its aura leaked out, thus the Black Hole Snake appeared. This poison has a spirit. Jiuchuan Supreme is telling future generations that this poison has a consciousness. Lin Moyu looked thoughtful and ordered to continue searching. Finally, after some searching, the skeleton god general found the place where Jiuchuan Supreme refined the poison of the Black Dragon. Among the countless broken mountains and rivers, there is a volcano that is perfect. Under the huge crater, there were flames rising, and black gas was spewing out of the flames. The black energy kept transforming into the appearance of the Black Dragon, trying to break free from the shackles of the flames, but failed again and again. Lin Moyu came to the crater and watched this scene. The appearance of the Black Dragon is a bit like a divine dragon, but the One Long tribe is different. Its aura is evil and dark, somewhat similar to the Black Blood realm. The black blood poison exudes a powerful aura, and the aura in the volcano is also full of poisonous gas. Even the flames transformed by Jiuchuan Supreme are difficult to completely refine it. If an ordinary god came here and took a breath, he would die directly. Lin Moyu is not afraid of poisons. His soul is strong enough, his body is strong enough, and his talent is enough to withstand poisons. He flew to the center of the crater, looked at the boiling lava below, and found a poisonous Black Dragon in the lava. Through the eyes of the undead, he clearly saw that the poisonous Black Dragon contained powerful soul power, which was an extremely powerful soul flame. The Supreme Black Dragon melted his soul into the poison and never died. As long as you leave here, it is indeed very likely to be resurrected. The two supreme souls have been fighting against each other for millions of years, but neither seems able to do anything to the other. Jiuquan Supreme can only trap it so that it cannot escape. You can't escape the crater, nor can you escape the world of rules. The Black Dragon Supreme Soul merged with the poison, resisting the refining, and always trying to escape from here. It failed to escape, but only part of the power it emitted left the world of rules and turned into a black hole snake. Fortunately, the black hole snake is not strong enough, otherwise it might be possible to help him escape. Human race, there are people who dare to come here. Suddenly, a deafening roar resounded in the soul. The soul of the black dragon emerged from the poison, and it stared at Lin Moyu under the protection of the poison. It's obvious that his soul has been wounded and a bit frivolous, but his hatred for Lin Moyu is obvious and extremely strong, almost becoming an obsession. Lin Moyu was unmoved. He had seen too many emotions like this. This is the poisonous soul. The black dragon has hidden his soul in the poisonous minister. It seems that Jiuquan Supreme's refining is not completely useless. It always causes damage to the soul of the supreme black dragon to some extent. If it can last for another million years, we may be able to refine the Black Flood Dragon Supreme. While thinking about it, the black dragon's poison suddenly rose up and rushed toward him. The flames were also carried by the black dragon's poison and erupted together, and the volcano suddenly burst into flames all over the sky. Lin Moyu said with a joke in his eyes, "You want to use Jiuquan Supreme's flames to burn me to death? That's a good idea." 1. He saw through the Black Dragon Supreme's thoughts at a glance and took a step back to avoid the flames. The Supreme Black Dragon was wrapped in flames and could not break out at all. He wanted to use the flames of Jiuquan Supreme to burn Lin Moyu to death together. The Supreme Black Dragon missed a single hit and fell back into the crater, constantly swimming in the flame magma, ready to strike again at any time. Human race, all human race deserve to die. Black Dragon Supreme roared, every word filled with hatred. After being refined for 2 million years, how could he not hate it? Hate enters the soul and cannot be added. Lin Moyu said arrogantly, "If it's just a poison, it would be a bit troublesome, but if it's a soul..." The world-burning fire appeared in his hand. Lin Moyu did not let it explode the refining world, but threw it from the crater into the magma. Wherever the world-burning fire went, the magma retreated one after another, as if they were afraid of the existence of the world-burning fire. The magma contains the soul origin of Jiuquan Supreme. As long as it is a soul, it will be afraid of the world-burning fire and will naturally get out of the way. The Black Dragon Supreme was surrounded by magma and did not feel the terror of the fire that was about to burn the world. He was still there roaring curses as always. Until the world-burning fire came in front of him, the flames that originally tightly wrapped him automatically avoided and made way for a passage. The soul of the Supreme Black Dragon suddenly discovered that the flame that had been refining itself for 2 million years suddenly showed a gap, and almost instinctively rushed over, wanting to escape from the gap and ascend to heaven. Then he encountered the world-burning fire flying in from the gap. This inconspicuous gray flame almost entangled his soul in an arrogant and unreasonable way and began to burn blazingly. His poison cannot hinder the world-burning fire and cannot protect his soul. The fire that burned the world ignited his soul, using it as nourishment to burn blazingly. Screams rang out, and the Black Dragon Supreme struggled crazily in the magma. What kind of flame is this? Why is there such a thing? My soul is so hateful, so hateful. The Black Dragon Supreme's soul was quickly burned out, becoming less and less, and his screams became weaker and weaker. Before the world-burning fire takes complete shape, it can already burn the soul of Tianzuan. Now that the world-burning fire has taken shape after refining several worlds, it can burn a supreme soul without difficulty. The Black Dragon Supreme's voice became lower and lower, turning from screams to moans. "I'm not willing to give in. I'm not willing to give in." The soul finally shattered like a bubble, and the last mark left by the Black Dragon Supreme in this world was erased. The black dragon poison left behind has no soul. Even if it spreads out, it will not allow the Supreme Black Dragon to regenerate. The poison is the poison, which can kill some people at most. However, the original poison of the Black Flood Dragon Supreme is indeed powerful, and even the Supreme Flame cannot burn it. If it weren't for its protection, Black Mosquito Supreme's soul would have been refined long ago. Now the supreme soul of the Black Dragon is dead, leaving the Black Dragon's poison still lingering. Lin Moyu looked at the poisonous Black Dragon, and a light flashed in his eyes. Maybe this thing can be useful if you keep it. But it depends on whether it can be contained. Ordinary magic weapons will certainly not be able to contain the Black Dragon's poison, but it is not impossible if ancient containment talismans are used. The internal space for containing the ancient talisman is very large. As long as it can exceed the space occupied by the Black Dragon's poison, it should be able to contain it. Now that the Black Dragon's poison is suppressed by the flames, it doesn't seem to be very big. If there is no suppression and a full-scale outbreak, Lin Moyu doesn't know how wide it can be. Let's give it a try. After analyzing and thinking, Lin Moyu decided to give it a try. The world-burning fire rose up in his palm again, and Lin Moyu said loudly to the sky, Lin Moyu, the descendant of the human race, wants to build a world of rules, so he can use the world of rules of his predecessors to refine it. Please make your senior a saint. Jiuquan Supreme is dead, his soul has turned into flames, and there is still a trace of obsession left. As if he heard Lin Moyu's words, there was a roar in the air, and the entire rules world was shaking. Lin Moyu felt Jiuquan Supreme's will and knew that the other party had agreed. The former supreme leader of the human race was always thinking about the human race even after his death. Lin Moyu admired him wholeheartedly. The world-burning fire exploded and swept across the entire rule world in an instant. The world of rules roars, and the magma in the volcano boils and rises into the sky. The magma evolved into a flame giant in the air, and the giant looked at Lin Moyu expressionlessly. Lin Moyu knew that this was Jiuquan Supreme. Lin Moyu saluted respectfully towards Jiuquan Supreme. The Black Dragon is dead. Go away, senior. Jiuquan Supreme was silent. After a few seconds, he returned the salute to Lin Moyu, and then collapsed. The world of rules was quickly refined and turned into a world crystal. At the moment when the world of rules collapsed, the Black Dragon's poison exploded, and the poison appeared in the starry sky of the big world, expanding at an alarming speed. This is the original poison of the Supreme, which can poison all living beings under the Supreme realm. Even the Supreme Being will be seriously injured by the poison, and it will be difficult to heal. At that time, Jiuquan Supreme had no choice but to die because of this poison. Lin Moyu threw out the ancient containment talisman that he had prepared long ago. A huge space evolved inside the ancient containment talisman, which continuously absorbed the poison of the Black Dragon. The diameter of the space inside the ancient talisman is 0.1 light-years, which is enough to accommodate several galaxies at the same time. Lin Moyu thinks it should be enough to contain the poisonous Black Dragon. The ancient containment talisman continuously absorbs the poison, and the absorption speed is faster than its diffusion speed. After a while, the poison was completely absorbed. There was a sharp roar in his ears. Lin Moyu turned around and saw many black hole snakes spitting out letters, and tigers, please promise, were staring at him eagerly. But they launched an attack rashly. From Lin Moyu, these black hole snakes felt the danger. Naturally, Lin Moyu didn't take these little guys who were not even close to the divine realm in his eyes. The soul of the supreme realm moved slightly, and a trace of coercion was revealed, and the black hole snake was immediately frightened to the point of urinating. Thousands of huge black hole snakes instantly shrank into a ball, shivering in the starry sky, not daring to escape. Facing the coercion of souls in the supreme realm, these little things don't matter. They are lucky if they are not frightened to death on the spot. Lin Moyu did not touch them, took the world crystal, opened the door to space, and left. He now has 8 pieces of world crystal in his hand, more than double the required 3 pieces. After calculation, it's almost the same, but Lin Moyu still has one place to go. He had been to the ancient tomb before and was almost trapped in it, unable to escape. Looking back now, it seems that there is also a world inside. Lin Moyu plans to visit the ancient tomb again. If it is as he thinks, the ancient tomb can also be refined. The big world has experienced the war in ancient times, and countless supreme beings died in the battle. Most of the rule world has disappeared with the supreme, and a small amount remains. Lin Moyu feels that the ancient tomb is most likely also a world. The door to space opened, and Lin Moyu came outside the ancient tomb. The ancient tomb remains the same, standing quietly in the starry sky, exuding a strange aura. Many people have been swallowed up here silently, and a large number of people in the human race have become slaves in ancient tombs. The souls of these people were eroded and they lost their sense of self. Although they were later rescued by themselves, their souls were difficult to recover. After nourishing them with the power of life for hundreds of years, their souls have indeed recovered, but their consciousness is still difficult to wake up, which is also a helpless move. Lin Moyu entered the ancient tomb, entered the core area with familiarity, and saw the coffins. The ancient tomb was originally a military camp, and the skeletons inside were soldiers. Lin Moyu always felt that these skeletons were related to the skeletons he summoned. And the skeleton was related to the mysterious master. He once felt that he had received the inheritance of that mysterious master. The former mysterious master was an extremely powerful necromancer. But this is just his guess, and it is always difficult to make a truly accurate judgment. Coming here again, Lin Moyu plans to take a closer look and find the answer. It is indeed the power of Rule 123. Lin Moyu judged from the aura permeating the tomb that it was filled with powerful power of rules, not weaker than the supreme rule world. Everything is full of mystery, sparkling Lin Moyu's curiosity. Lin Moyu used the power of his own rules to fight against the rules in the ancient tomb and went directly to the top of the mountain. Looking down at the entire cemetery from the top of the mountain, you can see the entire cemetery. The huge throne that once belonged to a certain general, and the huge coffin of that general, tell the story of its power. The throne is exquisite, somewhat similar to the skeleton throne. I once obtained the art of control here and used it on the ruler of the Legion, which played a great role. Lin Moyu increasingly felt that there was a connection between the two. Especially the gray flame hanging in the air is so similar to his own immortal flame. It's just that it's been too long and the correct answer can't be found. Lin Moyu searched the cemetery and found nothing new. The cemetery was eerily quiet at this time, with no sound at all. Lin Moyu looked at the sky and said loudly, "Everyone, I'm sorry." The world-burning fire rose from the palm of his hand and then exploded. The power of the world-burning fire swept through the entire tomb. The tomb was shaking violently. There was a harsh friction sound in the ears, and countless coffins were opened at the same time. Lin Moyu was shocked. According to the information sent back from the burning fire, he felt that the master of this world was still alive. The world has not completely collapsed, there is still something of the Lord, and it is difficult to refine it with the fire of burning the world. The coffins were opened one after another, and countless skeletons rushed out of the coffins and rushed straight into Yunqiao. They lined up in mid-air and became a powerful army in an instant. Gray flames exploded, covering the entire skeleton army. The skeleton army strengthened rapidly, and the three forces were in full swing. The other side realm. The corner of Lin Moyu's mouth twitched. He didn't expect that this army of skeletons were all from the other side. There are more than 1 million troops from the other shore. If this army appears in the outside world, it will be enough to crush the human army. In the realm of the other side of the million, even the saints of the human race will retreat when they see it. Flames suddenly ignited on the throne, and a huge skeleton appeared out of thin air. The skeleton rose into the sky together with the throne, and he became the commander-in-chief, commanding the army. In the eyes of the skeleton commander were 2 balls of flame, which continued to jump like the fire of the soul. Lin Moyu had a feeling that the other party was staring at him. Then the skeleton commander opened his mouth and made a metallic friction sound. "You are finally here." Lin Moyu's eyes showed shock. "Did you know I was coming?" The flames in the eyes of the skeleton commander continued to beat. "This is the task given to me by the master. I accepted this task when I returned from defeat. I have been sleeping until now, waiting for your arrival. Sure enough, it has something to do with the mysterious master. Lin Moyu thought to himself and asked, how did you know that the person waiting for you is me? The skeleton commander said, you have the master's flame, and only the master's flame can awaken me. The way to awaken it is the world-burning fire. Lin Moyu feels that every step he takes seems to be based on the calculation of the mysterious master. What is the mysterious master planning to do after millions of years? Just want to give something, Jedge, to yourself? It seems that there is no need to bother. It's really strange to just pack it up for yourself. Lin Moyu couldn't help but wonder if he had already fallen into the trap of the mysterious master when he obtained the art of control. Linking the before and after, Lin Moyu found that this possibility is very high. How did the mysterious master do it? He is much stronger than Tianzuan, but he is not Dao Zun. How did he calculate these games? One day, I will reveal this secret. Lin Moyu looked at the skeleton commander. What is the mission he gave you? The skeleton commander said, Master asked me to hand over this battle formation to you. Battle formation? Lin Moyu looked at the skeleton army behind the skeleton commander. Is this the battle formation behind you? The skeleton commander said solemnly, yes, but the master still has a request. He needs to have an actual battle with you. You must remain undefeated for 1 hour under our attack to qualify for the battle formation. Sure enough, it's not free. You also need to have the most basic exams. Lin Moyu smiled and said, what if I lose? The skeleton commander said, if you lose, you will die. It seems a bit cruel to only allow success but not failure. However, it is also consistent with Lin Moyu's impression of this mysterious master. The mysterious master is highly resourceful, decisive, and never sloppy. If you can't meet his requirements, then go die. From this, Lin Moyu also felt that the mysterious master was not only powerful, but also very proud. His layout does not allow for failure. Lin Moyu said, let's start. Although this army is very strong, the aura of the skeleton commander has reached the Saint Realm, and the millions of skeletons behind him are all from the other side realm. Lin Moyu is not afraid of returning. Flames rose from the skeleton commander's body, and the entire ancient tomb was instantly enveloped in flames. Lin Moyu felt that the space was blocked by a powerful force. Even he couldn't use the space door to leave. Just as the mysterious master said, if you can't meet his requirements, then die. Kill. The skeleton commander roared, and the skeletons behind him formed a battle formation to attack Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu tapped his finger, white mist filled the air, and the hell of bones came out, swallowing the entire skeleton army in an instant. He has full confidence and does not need to use his undead army. He can complete the mysterious master's request with the help of the bone hell. In just 1 hour, this army of millions of skeletons has no chance of breaking through the hell of bones. Lin Moyu was full of confidence, watching the skeleton army fall into the hell of bones, and the evil spirits from hell rushed towards it and began to gnaw at the skeleton army. The flames of hell also fell from the sky, hitting them like meteors. The Skeleton Legion battle formation was activated. Like a whole, the entire battle formation shone brightly, blocking the flames and blocking the evil spirits of hell. A flaming sword appeared in the skeleton commander's hand, and the flames in his eyes jumped sharply, strangled by bones. One by one, the galaxy of laws emerged, gathered into a river, and finally turned into a sea of stars. Countless white bones rise and fall in the Lawstar Sea, rolling up huge waves, and the law rises into the power of rules. Lin Moyu narrowed his eyes and read word by word, the law of white bones. Skeletons are also different from each other. Your undead army knows the law of bones, but other skeletons may not. And the skeleton army in front of them can actually use the law of bones, and they can use it better than themselves. Millions of skeletons summoned the law of bones at the same time, and gathered the laws into a sea of stars. The power of the laws was sublimated into the power of rules, and the power was stronger than used alone. The skeleton commander brandished the flaming sword, Bone Star Explode. The battle formation was launched, and the Lost Star Sea erupted with a shocking force. Countless bones shot out from the Lost Star River Sea and exploded the moment they touched the evil spirit of hell. The indestructible evil spirit of hell was crushed like tofu in the bone starburst. Although the evil spirit in hell will not really die, it is also difficult to recover at the same time. A bone star explosion killed at least tens of millions of evil spirits from hell. A big gap was opened in the circle surrounded by evil spirits from hell. The skeleton commander waved his sword again and shouted angrily, "Charge, bone arrows!" The law of white bones galaxies boiled, and a giant arrow with a length of more than 10,000 meters appeared out of thin air. The body was completely composed of white bones. The bone arrow was shot at Lin Moyu, and all the evil spirits from hell who stood in front of him were shot through on the spot. Even the Hell of Bones was penetrated with a huge passage. The skeleton commander led the skeleton army and fought along the passage against the sea of bone lost stars. The arrow of bones was so powerful that it completely penetrated the Hell of Bones, and it was already in front of him in a blink of an eye. Can't stop it. Lin Moyu's heart suddenly sank. With his sharp eyesight and quick hands, countless skeleton gods appeared around him and launched attacks on the bone arrows. The white sword energy swept out and hit the bone arrow. The bone arrow only vibrated slightly, but its momentum did not diminish at all. Instead, the skeleton generals who attacked the bone arrows were shattered one after another. Lin Moyu could clearly feel that their souls had been hurt, and these injuries came from the bone arrows. The law of white bones is an attack against the soul, but I never expected that the damage could be rebounded. The skeleton god general could not stop him, and the bone arrow was already in front of him. Lin Moyu shouted coldly, his immortal golden body erupted, and he punched out. This punch will hurt even the Holy Lord if he is hit, and it is more powerful than the attack of the skeleton god general. Lin Moyu wanted to try it out on his own to see how powerful the bone arrow was. Boom! The huge force collided, and the skeleton army led by the skeleton commander shook violently, temporarily stopping its progress. The arrow of bones was also deflected and flew far away. Lin Moyu's whole body was shaken away, and there was a clicking sound in his ears. The bones in his arm collectively broke and shattered, his flesh and blood exploded, and his arm was left shapeless. The power of life flows rapidly, and coupled with the strong recovery power of the physical body, the injuries on the arms are recovering at an alarming speed. Even the immortal golden body can't withstand it, it's really powerful enough. Thoughts flashed across like lightning. Before the injury on his arm could recover, the skeleton commander had already led his legions through the bone hell and was heading towards him quickly. The sea of bones and stars above the legion's head is so powerful that all the skeleton gods along the way will die at the touch of it. What a strong battle formation! Lin Moyu exclaimed inwardly. The original confidence in Tianban had disappeared at this time. The battle formation integrates offense and defense. The white bone Lo Shanghai can be defended or attacked, and it is extremely powerful. He realized that he had completely underestimated the power of the battle formation. A battle formation composed of millions of other side realms was enough to compete with the Supreme. Even the skeleton hell can be penetrated, which shows that the power of this chariot has surpassed the Supreme one by half a step. If you can surpass the Supreme by half a step, then what is it if it is not the Supreme? Lin Moyu's heart moved, and the Mountain Forest Supreme appeared beside him. The Mountain Forest Supreme's size exploded to 100,000 meters, and he waved endless vines and beat the village doctor towards the Skull Army. The star sea of white bone law was suddenly whipped into deformation and distortion, and the white bones in it set off endless waves. The forward momentum of the skeleton army was also stopped. The Mountain Forest Supreme is the real Supreme. During his lifetime, he was the weakest among the Supremes, the kind of garbage Supreme that the mysterious master calls him. After becoming a resurrector, he became stronger, comparable to ordinary Supreme beings. Mountain Forest Supreme is also Lin Moyu's strongest trump card at the moment. The skeleton commander waved his sword, and a metallic voice sounded, 100 battles. Law of white bones. Countless white bones suddenly flew out of the star sea, and the white bones turned into sharp blades one after another. The sharp blades combined with each other to form discs. The outer edge of the disc was extremely sharp. It rotated rapidly and exploded with amazing power, colliding with the vines of the Mountain Supreme. The extremely sharp disc was knocked away, and a large number of wounds were cut on it. Mountain Forest Supreme's wounds recovered quickly, but the discs kept hitting him and the wounds continued to expand. Lin Moyu used his life force to help Shamlin Supreme with treatment, so as to ensure that Shamlin Supreme can continue to attack. The two sides were in a stalemate, and the Mountain Forest Supreme was unable to do anything to the skeleton army for a while, but the skeleton army could not break through the vines of the Mountain Forest Supreme. Lin Moyu was completely sure at this time that the power of the Skeleton Legion battle formation was really comparable to that of the Supreme. His eyes flashed. A battle formation composed of millions of other shore realms can fight against the Supreme. What if there are tens of millions or hundreds of millions of skeletons forming a battle formation? Even if 1 million is the limit, that's enough. With 2.5 billion skeletons, I can form 2,500 battle formations, which is equivalent to 2,500 Supreme Realm combat power. In this way, it will be much easier to fight against Dojie. This battle formation must be obtained. The mysterious master is really terrifyingly powerful. Could it be that he even planned the arrival of the Dojie? You are so powerful that you are not a Taoist. How strong should a Taoist be? Perhaps in Tao Zun's eyes, a world like the Great World is nothing. Lin Moyu thought in his heart, and at the same time decided that no matter what method he used, he must get this battle formation. The Mountain Forest Supreme seems to have held the other party back, and as long as he persists for 1 hour, he can meet the mysterious master's requirements. But Lin Moyu feels that that alone may not be enough. Maybe there will be changes. The best way is to defeat the battle formation and defeat the opponent. Only in this way can we be truly stable. The two major laws of time and space appeared at the same time. The power of laws has been completely sublimated into the power of rules. The two rules merged with each other and became a more powerful force of time and space. Since mastering the power of time and space, Lin Moyu rarely uses it against enemies. Like the starry skyfishman, he understands the power of time and space, but has no way to apply it. He didn't have much time to study the power of time and space to develop a powerful method. He can only wield the power of time and space in a rough way and carry out simple and crude attacks. The same is true now. The power of time and space surges, rushing into the skeleton battle formation with great force. He wanted to cut off the time and space where some of the skeletons were located, causing the battle formation to fall apart. When the white bone Lost RC comes into contact with the power of time and space, it suddenly boils like water. It keeps roaring and twisting, resisting the power of time and space. But the power of time and space is pervasive and penetrates strongly, causing the Lost RC to boil even more violently. The skeleton marshal waved his flaming sword and shouted in a deep voice, "The bones of the sea." He inserted the sword into the Lost RC, and the Lost RC immediately stabilized. Countless white lights fell, and the battle formation became more condensed, truly becoming a whole, indivisible, and the power of time and space also lost its effect. Lin Moyu was not discouraged and continued to attack with the power of time and space. At the same time, he used a massive amount of death power to try to erode the Star Sea of the White Bone Law. The core of this battle formation is the Star Sea of White Bone Law. As long as it is solved, the battle formation will collapse on its own. The skeleton hell has also come back, covering the sea of bone stars. The immortal flame exploded, the skeleton throne emerged, and 25 skeleton kings appeared in the starry sky. Attack the Lost RC. Lin Moyu gave an order, and all attacks broke out at the same time, overwhelming Shanghai Zero. Lin Moyu used all his methods to launch a saturation attack on the Bone Lost RC. The Sea of Stars was distorted and deformed, and began to become unstable. No matter how strong the battle formation is, it has its limit. Under such an intense attack, it will finally be unable to hold on. The power of time and space finally penetrated, dividing the battle formation into different time and space, and the battle formation collapsed even more severely. No matter how the skeleton commander maintained his battle formation, it was of no avail. After the battle between the two sides lasted for half an hour, the entire battle formation collapsed. The skeleton army was dispersed, and Lin Moyu's undead army rushed in, and together with the Skeleton King, massacred the skeleton army. This is a duel between skeletons and skeletons. Lin Moyu has an absolute advantage in numbers. Gray flames exploded from the sky, and the whole world roared. "Stop!" The skeleton commander suddenly spoke out, and the skeleton army and the undead army stopped at the same time. The two sides who were still fighting fiercely 1 second had stopped the next second, and the world fell into silence. Both sides follow the 650 orders and prohibitions, and are more obedient than any other army. Lin Moyu came to the skeleton commander and asked, "Have I met the requirements?" Flames danced in the skeleton commander's eyes. "You are qualified to receive the master's inheritance." As he spoke, he stretched out his hand to grab his head, stretched his slender skull fingers from his eyes, and grabbed a piece of white jade-like bone from the soul flame in his head. The battle formation is inside. I obey the master's orders. The mission has been completed. I will rest in peace, and this battlefield will also be yours. Information about Warbound is at the top of the mountain. As the skeleton commander spoke, the skeleton legions behind him began to turn into smoke and quickly dissipated. Their mission is completed, and they will leave this world completely. Lin Moyu held the white jade-like bone fragment with complicated eyes. "What if I didn't defeat you just now, but I just delayed it until the end?" The skeleton commander said, "Then you can get the battle formation, but you can't get the battle realm." "It's exactly what I thought. If you wait until the end and defeat the opponent, the rewards you get will be different. The war realm is this world. This world is like a military camp, and it looks very extraordinary. It is impossible for him to treat ordinary things as treasures and keep them to this day." Lin Moyu saluted the skeleton commander. "Thank you, senior." The skeleton commander did not respond. To him, he was just completing the orders given by his master. An order can last for millions of years, which shows its loyalty. The skeleton army all turned into smoke, and finally even the skeleton commander also turned into smoke and left this world. This legion, which was comparable to the Supreme, just dissipated. Lin Moyu keenly discovered that the rules in the war world have changed, and the war world has become an ownerless thing. There was a roar, and on the top of the mountain, the huge coffin changed and turned into a stone monument. There are two big characters engraved on the stone tablet: War Realm. The stone tablet is the core of control of the war world. As long as the stone tablet is refined, the war world can be controlled. Of course, Lin Moyu can also choose to use the world burning fire to refine the war world and refine it into a world crystal. However, doing so would be a waste of resources. Lin Moyu naturally wouldn't do this. His soul power rushed into the stone tablet and quickly refined the battle realm. Lin Moyu's soul realm has reached the supreme level, and it can be refined very quickly. In just one day, he has become the new master of the war world. All the information about War Realm was learned by him, and he finally understood what War Realm was. This is really a military camp, a terrifying military camp that can be moved, restored, and reborn. However, this military camp also has a special feature: it is only used by the undead. There are millions of coffins in the war world, which can accommodate millions of undead at the same time. If you usually enter the coffin after death, you can be nourished by the coffin, recover from injuries, and strengthen your physical strength. Every coffin can leave a mark. Even if the undead died in battle outside, it only takes enough time to automatically resurrect in the coffin. The undead warriors in the war realm are truly immortal. As long as the war realm remains, they can continue to be resurrected. Therefore, the war realm is also called the immortal war realm. In ancient times, there was not just one such war realm, but many. Later, in the war, each battle realm was destroyed, and the number became smaller and smaller. In the end, there were very few intact battle realms. Lin Moyu finished digesting the information about the war world and began to check the war formation again. The battle formation is called the Bone Battle Formation, and it is also an exclusive battle formation for the Undead Legion. If you want to unleash the maximum power of the Bone Battle Formation, you need the Law of Bones. After reading the information about the battle formation, he let out a long breath with a little helplessness in his eyes. Although the battle formation is good, it is of little use to me for the time being. In order for War Realm to play its maximum role, an undead army numbering in the millions is needed, which Lin Moyu has no problem with. In addition, a commander-in-chief is needed. Lin Moyu immediately thought of the Legion ruler. Its existence seemed to be born for the war world. But a new problem came again. The first is quantity. The Legion ruler does master the art of control, but the number of legions it can control is only 100,000, far less than 1 million. Next is the Bone Battle Formation. The Legion rulers cannot master the Bone Battle Formation. To master the Bone Battle Formation, one needs wisdom, but the Legion rulers do not have wisdom. The legions in the War Realm can act independently. With just one order, the commander in the War Realm can lead the Legion to complete the mission. This is the skeleton commander Lin Moyu met before. He has wisdom and can talk directly to Lin Moyu, just like an intelligent creature. The ruler of the Legion currently still needs Lin Moyu to personally command, and he does not know how to think independently. To sum up the above reasons, the War Realm and the Bone Battle Formation are temporarily useless to me. But Lin Moyu also thought of a solution, which is the Spirit Flower on the World Tree. The Spirit Flower can give birth to the undead army for a second time and impart wisdom. As long as the Spirit Flower matures, it can give birth to wisdom to the Legion ruler for a second time, and then the Legion ruler can be transformed into a commander-in-chief. Control the battlefield, learn battle formations, truly break away from yourself, and form an independent army. Whether it is the Battle Realm or the Bone Battle Formation, they are both extremely powerful and the largest. The most important thing is that in the control core of War Realm, there is also the manufacturing method of War Realm. The manufacturing method of War Realm is extremely special and cannot be manufactured yet. However, he believes that he could create a War Realm in the future and form a powerful army by then. Lin Moyu can imagine that when the mysterious master released the war world and sent out countless armies to counter the rebellion, the scene must have been amazing. Although he did not get the world crystal, Lin Moyu feels that the harvest this time is greater. Through the war realm, he thought of the Netherworld swamp. Netherworld swamp is obviously also a type of war realm. War realm does not stick to form, but only focuses on function. It can be like a cemetery or a swamp, it all depends on personal preference. Thinking of this, Lin Moyu went directly to Yudong Swamp without much thought. 1.3. With the help of space laws, we crossed the Lust Desert and directly entered the Netherworld Swamp. The Lust Desert that once faced so many difficulties now seems to him like his own back garden, where he can come and leave whenever he wants. The Netherworld Swamp still exudes a terrifying aura, and there are creatures that look like orangutans moving around inside. The skeleton god will fly out and sweep all the way. Lin Moyu walked in the swamp, feeling the breath coming from the swamp, and looking at the tombstone standing in the center of the swamp. I have helped them here before and gained their recognition. It is indeed a war realm. Although the appearance is different, the breath is actually the same, and it was made by the same person. In the war that year, this war realm was even more severely damaged. The skeletons inside were completely shattered, and the foundation of the war realm was also damaged, causing the undead warriors inside to be unable to recover. I don't know if this war realm has any value. After thinking about it, Lin Moyu came to the deepest part of the swamp and saw the tomb of Legion Commander Yu Yi. Seeing Yu Yi's tombstone again, Lin Moyu could already imagine the situation of the war that year. The Netherworld legions are dispatched, and each legion is a battlefield like the Netherworld swamp. Yu is one of them, commanding the first army. In the end, he was defeated, and even the battle world was severely damaged and could not come back again. His enemies, the orangutan-like creatures, chased him into the Netherworld swamp. It was not until Yu cursed the Netherworld swamp at the cost of his own soul that he lost his soul. Otherwise, this battle formation will most likely be completely destroyed. After many years, Lin Moyu came here again and carefully inspected the situation in the war world. He already has a complete battle world, and comparing the two, you can see that the Netherworld swamp has been completely damaged. It is a miracle that it has been preserved over the years. The existence of the Lust Desert is caused by the leakage of its history. Now that he has reached a higher position, he has overturned his own judgment and understood the origin of the matter. It seems that there is no possibility of repairing this war realm. 29-inch. Utilize the waste and refine it into world crystals, and you can also use some waste heat. Lin Moyu muttered to himself, preparing to use the world-burning fire to refine the entire world. The world-burning fire had just appeared, and Lin Moyu suddenly took it back. He touched Yu's tombstone with one hand, and felt an unusual aura on the tombstone. This is a line of cause and effect, sometimes present but always present. Lin Moyu took out the cause and effect gourd, activated the cause and effect gourd, and a thin mist sprayed out from the cause and effect gourd. In the mist, Nichio's morning line was revealed. The line of cause and effect leads outside the Netherworld swamp, and I don't know where it is going. More mist is sprayed out from the cause and effect gourd, and the mist wraps around the trapped fruit line, revealing the entire cause and effect line. Lin Moyu followed the line of cause and effect and left the Netherworld swamp. The line of cause and effect ran through the Netherworld swamp and flew into the depths of the starry sky. This is one of the functions of the cause and effect gourd, to show cause and effect. The line of cause and effect is very long, spanning thousands of light years, and Lin Moyu also follows the line of cause and effect, spanning thousands of light years. Finally, Lin Fuyu reached the end of the causal line. A broken world. Lin Moyu's eyes were filled with joy. At the end of the causal line, he saw a broken world. This world is hidden in darkness and has a restrained atmosphere. If there is no causal line, it would be difficult for Lin Moyu to find it. Needless to say, this broken world is the world of those orangutan-like creatures. This world was destroyed in the ancient war, when the Netherworld army attacked them. Although the first army commanded by Yu was defeated, the other armies were not defeated. This is an unexpected gain. Although this world is broken, it can still be refined into world crystals. Lin Moyu stepped into it with a smile. This is a world covered by forests. The creatures here look like orangutans, and it is natural to live in this environment. Lin Moyu felt a completely different atmosphere from the big world. This was another world. However, he was riddled with holes and was broken in the war that year. Lin Moyu was too lazy to explore this world, and the world-burning fire exploded directly, sweeping the entire world. The world roared and shook, the big trees in the forest collapsed in the shaking, and horrified screams rang out. There are still living beings in this world, but they are not strong, and most of them cannot even reach the true God realm. The world has been beaten to pieces, and even if it survives, there will be no more powerful creatures. Just like in the big world, it is difficult to find a supreme principle. There is a living being but no master, its origin is fragmented, and it is completely unable to withstand the refining of the world-burning fire. Those remaining creatures can only die helplessly. To them, this is a natural disaster, and they cannot understand the nature of the burning world talent fire. The world continued to shrink, and finally turned into a world crystal. This is also the 9th world crystal obtained by Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu destroyed it without even knowing the name of this world. The world was destroyed, and the line of cause and effect was also broken. Lin Moyu did not stay and returned to Yu Swamp again. The world-burning fire burned again and began to refine the Netherworld swamp. In the Lust Desert, wild sand is flying all over the sky. All the monster creatures inside have reached their final end. The Netherworld swamp is also boiling, and countless bones rush out of the swamp like warriors arrayed in the sky. Yu Yi's tombstone was also shining, and a shadow wearing armor rushed out of the tombstone and came to the front of the battle formation. Yu Yi's shadow was also broken, and the army behind him only had broken bones, but their fighting spirit was still strong. Lin Moyu saluted Yu Yi's shadow. "Your battle is over, leave the rest to me." Yu Yi looked into the distance, and finally saw the sky and the world burning fire. He seemed to realize something and nodded slightly towards Lin Moyu. Then he gave an order, and all the broken bones rushed towards his tombstone. Broken bones hit the tombstone like rain and shattered into pieces. The tombstone cracked under the impact of raindrops, and finally Yu Ya crashed into his own tombstone. With a bang, the tombstone collapsed, and Lin Moyu narrowed his eyes. In the center of the tombstone, a regular sacred stone appeared. "To the master!" Yu Yi's voice sounded in the air. The sound was hollow. It was his last words. This was his trophy, which he has kept to this day, and is to be given to his master. There are only two sources for the Rule God Stone. One is from Tianzuan. Tianzuan's rule world can make Rule God Stone, but it is not easy to make and the quantity is very small. The other one comes from the Big World, which is naturally produced by the Big World, and the number is smaller. The Rule God Stone has great uses, is rare in quantity, and is extremely precious. Apparently he discovered this magical stone of rules back then and started a battle with the enemy. Although he was defeated in the end, he still snatched the Rule God Stone. If it were in the past, Lin Moyu would not be able to touch the 777 Rules Divine Stone, and he would die if he touched it. Now that Lin Moyu is on the other side, the power of the rules has been fully sublimated, and he is already qualified to contact the God of Rules Stone. The power of rules surged, and he reached out to take the Rules Stone. The whole process was smooth and without any danger. Holding the Divine Stone of Rules, Lin Moyu couldn't help but sigh, "What a pity, your master is no longer here." Yu Yi was loyal enough that he didn't think about his master before he died. It's a pity that things are unpredictable. Who could have imagined that the world would become what it is today? The Netherworld swamp was refined one day later and disappeared into the starry sky along with the Lust Desert. Lin Moyu obtained the 10th world crystal. The 10 world crystals were all rolled up by the world tree, like a star, shining in the soul world. Looking at the 10 world crystals in the soul world, Lin Moyu suddenly had an idea. It's time to build a world of rules. As soon as this idea started to grow rapidly, I could no longer suppress it. When he reaches his current state, his soul often produces some strange reactions, which provide some omens for the future. Lin Moyu's soul is extremely keen and his spiritual sense is extremely powerful. He can produce some omens for danger and the future. This omen is accurate in most cases. Now, on a whim, he felt that the conditions were ripe and he could build a world of rules. The door to space opened, Lin Moyu stepped into it and disappeared. The real core of the human star field, where the human emperor network is located. A large number of people in the other side are cultivating here. Over the years, the luck of the human race has been at its peak, and many peak gods have made breakthroughs. They have also crossed the galaxy and achieved the other side by jumping on the other side. The number of people in the other shore realm has increased a lot, and is already close to 200 people. But everyone knows that for a long time to come, the number of new people on the other side will decrease significantly. The war has ended, and the road to the other side can no longer be opened. If you want to advance to the other side, you can only cross the galaxy by yourself. That would last a long time, don't even think about it, for hundreds of years. The human emperor also sent notices to all the high-level gods, informing them of this matter, so that they can lay a solid foundation in the realm of gods, so that they can smoothly ascend to the other side. As a result, there are good and bad aspects. Although the number of people has become smaller, the strength has become stronger. Practitioners who have crossed over to the other side through their own efforts will be more powerful than before, and their future path will be broader. The space was slightly distorted, the door to space appeared in the starry sky, and Lin Moyu stepped out in one step. Many people have seen Lin Moyu, but only for a moment. After Lin Moyu came out, he took one step and disappeared. Some people's eyes were full of envy. The laws of space are so enviable. With the laws of space, Mr. Lin can really come and go freely without any restrictions. Unfortunately, this law is too difficult. I can master it with help. 1. Don't talk about the laws of space. It's good if we can understand our own laws. Whenever you become a saint, think about other things. Compare yourself to yourself, not to others. The Taoist mind in the other shore realm is firm and will not be easily affected. Envy is just a natural reaction, and in the end it becomes nothing more than a conversation piece. Arriving at the back of Renhuang Network, Lin Moyu bowed slightly to Renhuang. Senior Renhuang, I want to build a world of rules. The human emperor's projection appeared in front of Lin Moyu. He felt the power of Lin Moyu's rules and said solemnly, your rule world has taken shape and the upgrade should be quite smooth. Lin Moyu shook his head. The rule world I want to build may be different, and the time required should not be short. The human emperor said, the human race has been calmed down. You can retreat in peace. We can handle anything that happens. Lin Moyu nodded slightly, turned around and entered the practice room to start practicing. This is the area where the human emperor has the strongest power. No matter how much noise Lin Moyu makes, the human emperor can control it, and Lin Moyu can practice with confidence. Without turning on the time formation, building a world of rules is completely self-sublimation and cannot have any external influence. In ancient times, whether we could go further or not, the world was a top priority. Therefore, Lin Moyu was fully prepared before he officially started to be promoted. Looking across the entire soul world, the soul world is filled with the power of rules, and it has long since evolved into the prototype of a world of rules. For ordinary people in the other side, once the soul evolves into the prototype of the world of rules, it is already a certainty that it will become a saint. It only needs a little transformation to turn the embryo into a world of rules. But Lin Moyu is different. He wants to make drastic changes and upgrade the rules world. The whole process can almost be said to be starting over from scratch. And Lin Moyu doesn't want to transform it bit by bit. There is no perfect rule world, it must be done in one step. What's more, he also wants to surpass the perfect level and reach another level. Starlight Refining Technique, 9,921 stars, 79 stars short of 10,000 stars. One pill every 10 days, it will take a little more than 2 years. I will take advantage of these 2 years to rehearse and make up for all the gaps. Lin Moyu's soul spread out his palm, and the world tree sprinkled his soul power, forming a soul light group on his palm. The situation in the light ball was almost exactly the same as the situation in his own soul. Lin Moyu began to simulate in the small world he created, simulating the form of the regular world. At the beginning, he had already thought about what his rule world would look like, and his rule world would be built based on the big world as a template. Later, after experiencing a trip to the Boundary Sea, Lin Moyu's ideas changed. He found that the big world was too small and was just a drop in the ocean. He wanted to add a Boundary Sea in his world of rules, but he didn't know how to add it. The main reason is that he doesn't know what it is like outside the Boundary Sea. When you don't know, you can only rely on your imagination. It would be great if I could go to Jiahai again. Lin Moyu glanced at Jiahai Bay and found that Jiahai Bay's aura had partially recovered. Lin Moyu was slightly happy in his heart. Maybe I really have a chance to take a look again. The soul light group in the palm began to change, and it was changing with Lin Moyu's mind. The 10,000 points of starlight inside, the position of the world tree, and the area of the magic star are all changing. How to arrange it will be more perfect and more powerful. A team of humans entered the territory of the Starry Skyfish clan. Saint Hao went there in person, and Yu Qimei had already prepared for the arrival of Saint Hao. Lin Moyu told him, and Yu Yingru also mentioned it after returning. He knew that Saint Hao had two purposes for his trip. One was for Yu Qingru's marriage, to which he had already agreed. As for the other thing, Yu Qimei didn't know, but Yu Qingru knew it, but she didn't say it until Holy Lord Hao came to tell it in person. Yu Qingru just said that this matter was very important and related to the life and death of the race. Yu Qimei had to take it seriously. After meeting Wu Shengzuan, he turned away everyone and the two chatted for a long time. 2 days later, Saint Hao left, and Yu Qimei called the two elders over and chatted for a long time. Another day later, Yu Qimei issued a clan leader's order ordering all the elders of the Bianan realm to go outside the city. Only the elders of the other side realm know what to do outside the territory. Not only the other shore realm, but also the two great elders were dispatched to go outside the territory together. For a time, only Yu Qimei, the patriarch of the Starry Sky Fishman clan, was still there, and the rest of the other shore realm and the Holy Lord had left. The blue water lapped at the shore, and Yu Qingru stood there, looking at the sea. The sea is the Starry Skyfish people's favorite scenery, and Yu Qingru often looks at the ocean. Yu Qimei found Yu Qingru. "Qingru, you won't blame me." Yu Qingru shook his head. "I don't blame the clan leader, and I agreed to this myself." She knew the meaning of Yu Qimei's words. In the eyes of many people, she had become a trading object. Someone bought her with an inherited Supreme Realm magic weapon. Yu Qingru already knew what happened that day when Lin Mohan and Lin Moyu came over. After hearing this, she did not have much emotional fluctuations. She did this of her own free will, and when it comes to racial interests, nothing is off limits. Even if she is a princess, this is the case. There is no deal that cannot be negotiated, only prices that cannot be negotiated. If the price is right, anything can be sold. If someone said that they could make someone from the Starry Sky Fishman clan become a supreme, but they wanted Yu Qimei to die, Yu Qimei would die without hesitation. This is the case for Yu Qimei. Everything is for the sake of race. Yu Qimei said, "If you have any requests, just ask and I will grant them." Yu Qingru smiled slightly and said, "Thank you, Patriarch. Qingru has no requirements. This is my own choice." Yu Qimei said, "If he bullies you, you come back. This will always be your home." Yu smiled softly, with happiness flashing in his eyes. "Don't worry, Patriarch, he doesn't know how to speak." After getting a glimpse of the whole picture, Yu Qingru believed that he would not see the wrong person. Lin Moyu can carry the sleeping coffin with him and wants to change his wife's fate against the odds. This kind of person is worthy of trust. Thinking of Lin Moyu, Yu Qingru's eyes showed a little tenderness, and she whispered to herself, "What are you doing?" In the training room next to the human emperor's body, Lin Moyu has been sitting quietly for more than 2 years. The soul light group on the palm was shattered again and again, and new simulations were performed again and again, and constant adjustments were made. Lin Moyu is constantly adjusting his rule world. He wants a rule world beyond perfection, and any flaws must be corrected. The whole world must have reality, symmetry, and balance. There are too many things to pay attention to. It is not an ordinary rules world. Just build one and be done with it. After 2 years of simulation, Lin Moyu came to a realization. There are actually 2 directions that the Holy Lord can choose to build a world of rules. One is minimalism, just like Lin Mohan's world of rules, which is just a sword and nothing else. And the direction I chose is complicated, extremely complicated. He simulated the big world, built galaxies, and even wanted to simulate the boundary sea. We cannot say which of the 2 directions is stronger, we can only say which is more suitable. Lin Mohan is suitable for minimalism. If anything happens, he can kill it with one sword. I am suitable for complicated things, and I plan everything carefully and make sure there is no omission. When the starlight refining technique is about to condense tens of thousands of stars, Wei Haibei can finally be used again. Take another look at Jiahai, look at the outside world, and hope to gain something. Lin Moyu thought in his heart and used all his strength to activate Jiahai Bei. How long you can stay in the boundary sea depends entirely on your body's strength. The stronger the power, the longer it can stay in the boundary sea. Previously, I only stayed for 10 minutes before returning from the boundary sea. This time I should be able to stay much longer. The boundary sea shell was activated, and the sound of waves rang in his ears. The aura of the boundary sea spread from Lin Moyu's body and flowed out of the training room. The human emperor immediately sensed that the half-step supreme's power exploded, interfering with reality and directly blocking all auras. The human emperor appeared in front of the training room and murmured, "Did you just go to the boundary sea?" There was a look of memory in the human emperor's eyes. He was once Xiao Zhantian. He had been to the boundary sea several times and was very familiar with the atmosphere of the boundary sea. He knew that Lin Moyu had gone to Jiehai, but he didn't know what Lin Moyu was going to do. Lin Moyu has been in seclusion for 2 years, and his breath has not changed much. It is not easy to build a world of rules. It is normal to be in seclusion for decades or hundreds of years, but 2 years is nothing. The human emperor sighed, "Although I don't know what you are doing in Jiehai, I hope you can gain something." The familiar voice and special breath make people unable to forget, CJFD, after seeing it once. This is the boundary sea, this magical sea, carrying the big world, and countless other worlds like the big world. Lin Moyu stood in the air, looking down at the big world. Compared with the previous time he came here, he felt that the human world seemed a little bigger. Looking from a distance, there is another world approaching in the distance, which is Dojie. Compared to last time, the distance between the two worlds is a little closer. Lin Moyu watched for a while and determined the time. In about 1,100 years, the two sides would collide. Apart from this, the big world will not encounter other worlds for the time being. After determining the distance to Dojie, Lin Moyu immediately flew towards the distance without any further hesitation. He wanted to take a look at the boundary sea within a limited time. Can you find some references to make his rule world more perfect? Here, it is difficult to use the laws of space, and you can only rely on flying. Just after flying less than 10,000 meters, Lin Moyu's body stopped suddenly. His soul sent a warning that if he continued to stay away, he would never come back. This feeling is the same as the feeling of being lost in the void of the soul. If you go too far, you will be completely lost here. Once lost, it means death. Lin Moyu didn't dare to risk his life, so he immediately changed direction and flew to other places. After several tests, he knew that 10,000 meters was the limit, and he could not leave the big world for more than 10,000 meters. According to the size of the big world, the 10,000 meter area that I can move within is actually quite large. In the boundary sea, the diameter of the big world is only about 100 meters, and the range of 10,000 meters is enough to accommodate many big worlds. It's a pity that the boundary sea is too empty. There is nothing within the 10,000 meter area. Lin Moyu's eyes were slightly disappointed. He didn't see what he needed. Within 10,000 meters, there was nothing but rolling waves. Dojie is still far away, far more than 10,000 meters. After searching for it for several minutes but finding nothing, Moyu couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. His attention returned to the big world. Looking at the big world floating in the boundary sea, Lin Moyu finally discovered something. No matter how the big world rises and falls, in fact, the big world is tightly attached to the boundary sea. No matter how big the waves are, there will be no change in the area where the world sinks into the boundary sea. It won't sink anymore, and it won't float anymore. Looking at the Dojie in the distance, Lin Moyu found that the same was true for the Dojie. It's like the two worlds are fixed. Tianfin is weird. Lin Moyu thought of what Zhu Ke once said, the number of people in the world sinking into the sea is related to the strength of the world. The more the world sinks into the boundary sea, the higher the upper limit of strong people in it will be. Only when it sinks halfway will the heavenly Lord be born in the world. The size of the world determines the number of strong people. So, the scope of the world sinking into the boundary sea is limited. It cannot become more or less. What does the big world that sinks into the world sea look like? Lin Moyu looked at Jiehai, his eyes flickering, and he quickly made a decision. He decided to take a look in the Boundary Sea. Last time, he felt that the Boundary Sea was very dangerous. Once he entered, his life or death would be uncertain. The current strength is not what it used to be, and he thinks he might be able to take a look. Neither the laws of time nor space can be used here. Only the law of immortality can be used for a while, but it is only limited to the part it possesses. It cannot summon the law galaxy, nor can it be replenished. Lin Moyu used the law of immortality, with the power of death outside and the power of life inside, sinking into the trapped sea. As soon as it touched the Boundary Sea, terrifying power immediately surged in. The power of Jihai was like a heavy hammer, hitting Lin Moyu one after another. Each heavy hammer blow is comparable to the full force blow of the Holy Lord. It is extremely terrifying. The power of death can only offset part of the impact of the Boundary Sea, and a lot of power falls directly on the body. The immortal golden body is automatically activated, and a layer of flame flows on the skin, sparkling in the sea of the world. The immortal golden body shone brightly, resisting the remaining impact of the Boundary Sea. The impact of the Boundary Sea not only affects the body, but also affects the soul. The soul world is also roaring, and waves appear outside the soul world and crash into the soul world. Lin Moyu's soul has reached the supreme realm, and the soul world is stronger than the physical body, blocking the impact of the Boundary Sea. It seems that as long as you can reach the half-step supreme level, you can block the Boundary Sea for a period of time. When you reach the supreme realm, you can basically ignore the impact of the Boundary Sea. Back then, Xiao Zhantian was looking for opportunities in the Boundary Sea. He was the half-step supreme, which also corroborated Lin Moyu's judgment. The Boundary Sea is fatal to the other side realm, so the Holy Lord can persist for a while, the half-step supreme can persist for longer, and the supreme can ignore it. Although Lin Moyu's realm is only the other side, he is very powerful and can persist in the Boundary Sea for a period of time. Confirming that there was no danger, he sank into the Boundary Sea and finally saw the lower half of the big world. His eyes changed instantly, full of shock. It's actually like this. The part of the big world below the Boundary Sea is completely different from the part above the Boundary Sea. The big world under the Boundary Sea is not the darkness imagined. The power of the big world is like a big ship in the Boundary Sea, lingering with powerful force and lifting itself up. This force is far stronger than imagined. Lin Moyu felt that he would die if he touched it. This is the power of the void. The great virtual power that spreads the glow is intertwined with dreams, and at the same time it is extremely dangerous. The power of the void not only carries the world, but also continuously draws power from the sea of world to replenish itself. However, while absorbing power, most of it will also be consumed. This part of the consumed power will support the worlds of all parties and float in the Boundary Sea. Normally, the part absorbed will be greater than the part consumed, and the power of elimination can increase the world itself. The power in the World Sea is perfect. The intersection of reality and reality can enhance the origin of the world. As the world becomes stronger and stronger, it will absorb more and more power, and at the same time, the consumption will become higher and higher. The big world is like this. He not only absorbed the power of the Sea of Boundaries to strengthen his own origin, but also absorbed the origins of many worlds, making himself stronger. However, after the ancient war, the origin of the big world was damaged, and the power it could absorb became weaker and weaker, but the consumption remained unchanged. It no longer has the extra strength to repair itself, and now it can only barely maintain a balance of payments. But the Boundary Sea will continue to pour in. This kind of power that has not been absorbed but flows into the big world is a kind of poison to the big world. It will absorb less and less power, and more poison will flow in. The source continues to be consumed, and the upper limit that can be supported will also be reduced. There will be no more heavenly lord or supreme being in the big world, and eventually the whole big world will be shattered by the expansion. Lin Moyu once thought, why does the big world keep expanding? Wouldn't it be better if it didn't expand? It could even shrink itself, so wouldn't the world not collapse? Now Lin Moyu finally understands that the expansion of the big world is the rule of the boundary sea, and no world can stop. If the origin of the big world cannot be repaired, it will one day break, just like a balloon blown to the maximum and then explode with a bang. Seeing this scene, Lin Moyu also completely understood what his rules world would look like. He completed the final piece of the puzzle of the rules world. What's this? Suddenly a bright light broke into his sight, coming from the depths of the boundary sea. The boundary sea is dim, and there is no other light source except the glow of the big world. This sudden light source is very eye-catching. Lin Moyu knows that there are treasures in the boundary sea. These treasures may come from a world outside the boundary sea, or they may come from other broken worlds. Xiao Zhantian obtained a technological magic weapon in the boundary sea, and eventually became the human emperor, protecting the human race for tens of thousands of years. Lin Moyu quickly headed towards the bottom of the sea. He just hoped that the bottom of the sea would not be too deep, no more than 10,000 meters. Strong pressure comes from all directions, and the deeper you go into the boundary sea, the greater the pressure becomes. The immortal golden body began to tremble, unable to hold on. Lin Moyu's heart moved, and the hell of bones emerged, protecting himself together. On the contrary, the soul world is relatively strong. After all, it is already a supreme soul and can withstand the impact. After sinking thousands of meters, the light became more and more dazzling, and Lin Moyu finally saw clearly the source of the light. The source of light is a gem, and Lin Moyu feels the rich source of the fifth. Original crystallization. Lin Moyu was overjoyed that his luck was so good and he could get whatever he wanted. When building a world of rules, if it can be supported by the power of the source, the effect will definitely be better. The essence of world crystallization is actually the power of origin. After being refined by the fire of burning the world, the belongings of all worlds were removed, leaving only the pure original power. It's just that the original power is too little. Whether it is a broken world or a world of rules left by the Supreme, there is only a little bit of original power. The source crystal in front of you contains much more source power. This piece is worth 10 world crystals. Lin Moyu suddenly felt very rich and became a rich man all of a sudden. Endless desire breeds in his soul, and Lin Moyu is eager to obtain this original crystal. Whether it is out of ambition for the rule world or hope for the future, he is determined to obtain this original crystal. He quickly approached the source crystal, seemingly forgetting the distance between him and the big world. He is getting further and further away from the big world, 5,000 meters. 7,000 meters. Qiu Qiankai. Danger! 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 The soul was so fierce that it issued a warning, the world tree swayed crazily, and the colorful dragon soul crystals also erupted into bursts of dragon roars. Lin Moyu woke up suddenly. No, no! There was a look of horror in his eyes. His state just now was completely wrong. Even if you are attracted to the original crystal, it is impossible to become like this. And the source crystal is not that far away. When he is chasing the source crystal seems to be moving away, attracting him to it. There is something wrong with the original crystal. Lin Moyu stopped. At this time, he was already more than 10,000 meters away from the big world. If he were further away, he might completely lose contact with the world. In the vast sea of boundaries, once contact is lost, it is difficult to find it again. Lin Moyu stopped thinking about the original crystal and returned quickly. Just as he turned around to return to the big world, the source crystal suddenly moved. The origin crystal light shines brightly and expands rapidly in front of your eyes. The power of the origin is stronger, creating greater temptation to attract Lin Moyu again. But this time Lin Moyu was on guard, holding onto his soul and not being affected. With the light blooming from the origin crystal, Lin Moyu finally saw clearly that behind the origin crystal was a terrifying giant beast in the world sea. This giant beast looks ferocious, looking like a strange fish with spikes all over its body. There is a tentacle on the top of its head, and the origin crystal hangs on the top of the tentacle, like a lantern. The strange fish in the boundary sea use the origin crystal to attract prey. When the prey is far away from its own world, it will attack and kill. The creatures that can come to the boundary sea will not be weak, at least they are also holy ones. The Holy Lord has an instinctive desire for the original crystal, and he happens to be exploited by it. This strange fish is intelligent. Lin Moyu felt a thump in his heart, but he didn't want to blame the fish for fighting at this time. He was too far away from the big world, so he had to get closer to the big world first. Moreover, the boundary sea is not a suitable place for fighting. This is the home ground of the strange fish. There is no advantage in fighting the strange fish here. If there is a chance, get the source crystal again. If you can't get it, forget it. Seeing Lin Moyu no longer chasing the origin crystal, the strange fish chased after him fiercely. It is very fast, much faster than Lin Moyu, and it won't take long to catch up. Lin Moyu doesn't want to get entangled with it, he will get close to the big world first. The laws of space cannot be used in the boundary sea, and the speed is limited. Otherwise, a distance of only a few kilometers can be covered without blinking. The strange fish was getting closer and closer. Lin Moyu's heart moved, and the skeleton god would appear in the boundary sea. The skeleton god general swung out his sword energy, but the sword energy was quickly dissolved by the power of the boundary sea. When it fell on the strange fish, there was not much left. The remaining sword energy hit the strange fish, making a sound like iron. The spikes on the strange fish suddenly opened and shot out countless water lines. The waterline penetrated the boundary sea and hit the skeleton god general, breaking it on the spot. Lin Moyu was shocked again. The defeated skeleton god general could not be resurrected, and the undead souls were disabled for 7.